Welcome to
BamBam-O-Rama. BamBam-O-Rama.
Welcome to another BamBam-O-Rama podcast. My name is Adrian Estrada.
I'm Jackson Grist.
And we're here to try to entertain you for the next who the fuck knows. Thank you guys for tuning in. We just want to take a little bit of time to appreciate everybody that does tune in regularly. There's about 10 to 15 of you. Thank you so much for your diligence and your dedication. If you do us a favor, could you please go ahead and click that share, like, comment button.
Please get in the comments. Comments will help us in the algorithm immensely. And as silly as it is, we have to play this algorithm game because we're trying to do the YouTube game.
Right. And so as usual, it costs you nothing to click that like button. It costs you nothing to comment. We're not asking for your money, and we're asking for a few seconds, please, if you don't mind. Jack, what do you think is our biggest opportunity for content creation?
Coming up, or that we've done so far?
That's a good, I like that you thought it like that, because I want both now that you say that.
I think the best opportunity we've given everybody so far is our podcast actually adding guests to the podcast. Because I don't know about you, I think I like to talk to people. I think I'm good at talking to people. I enjoy talking to people. If I could make a life as a podcaster, I'd probably be extremely happy.
So there's like different levels of that. Most importantly, I'm thinking if we were to completely re-gear, we could probably pick, a focus that would make us money. Maybe not, the next big thing, but we could probably become, I don't know, soccer podcasters, especially right now. It's a little bit different. The way we talk might be easier for some people to hear. And I think that's one thing I don't think everyone realizes. You don't have to be a subject matter expert to do this stuff.
Absolutely, you don't.
It's about cadence and your ability to continue the conversation, even if it's not great. And I'm not saying we're doing that perfectly, but
I mean, even in fact, like some of my favorite podcasts that I like listening to by no means have content geniuses on them. Well, that's not true. They have guests that have are content geniuses, right? There's usually a fact check that goes and tells the host how wrong he is. And those are one of my favorites. And because they get to learn as things go. Really their job is, as the host, is just to get a conversation going between somebody, right?
Right, and just be aware enough not to dig yourself too deep into a hole, right?
Right. Yeah, because you can't get out there and say, all women deserve to be in the kitchen.
I don't know about the women one. I don't know if that would... not because I'm afraid of like the cancellation thing, but I want to cut certain things out because it's just... people are just annoying.
I mean...
I'm not afraid of the opinions or, them chastising me for my opinion. I'm used to that by now. Nobody in this world accepts the Adrian opinion, mostly because I'm fucking with people. But if you're being a dick, you deserve it, and I'm sorry.
No. Well, I mean, honestly, I kind of feel like it's okay to make jokes. I think comedy is finally getting back to where we can accept these jokes for what they are. I'm seeing comedians right now fight for that stance. And so, also on that line, if you don't know it's a joke, like I obviously don't believe, if you know me, I don't think a woman's place is in the kitchen.
I heard Anthony Jeselnik, I don't remember what he was on. He was on a podcast, and he was talking that he disagrees that comedians should be allowed to die on the cross, so to speak, of, I'm a comedian, I should be allowed to say these things.
Right.
His perspective was that if you're good at it, you could get away with it. And I agree.
Makes sense, yeah.
But I also would like to point out that that's not 100%. Because there's always... out of every group, there's always one friend that doesn't like you as much as everybody else.
Oh, yeah.
And that's fine. That's how life should be. But sometimes that one person goes and tries to put sticks in your wheel. You know what I mean? Yeah. So it's like, it's not 100% that if you're good at it, you get away with it. Because many times you can be great at it. Everybody loves it. But that one person takes offense, right? And then you're stuck trying to, I wouldn't say navigate this, but you're stuck with this situation where no matter what, because their feelings are real, you've now hurt someone's feelings, and it can polarize your status with people.
That's true.
So is it that if you're good enough, you can get away with it, or is it if you're appeasing enough? And I don't necessarily want an answer. I just want to kind of poke that premise of thought, because especially with Anthony Jeselnik, who's not perfect, and he knows that. I'm not, challenging some sort of crazy notion, and by no means am I some comedian nor stand-up. But with the ever opening opportunity and ability as the average American man to be a critic, because everyone is, he's too unrefined to say that that's how he does it, because he doesn't get away with it with everybody. So is it that so much of a thought that you're getting away with it and you're good, or is it you've made peace with getting away with it to the people you can touch, the people you can somehow make a connection with, you've gotten away with it with them?
That's kind of the thing. Yeah, that's actually on the line of what I was going to say. I think a lot of it has to do with who is your audience. Anthony Jeselnik's audience is generally people who have no problem hearing offensive jokes and think offensive jokes and dark humor is funny. Whereas, I guess to be a little topical right now, Matt Rife made a joke about domestic violence, and a lot of people are pissed at him because his audience is not an audience that wants to hear those kinds of jokes. And I think it's not that, did Matt Rife make a funny joke? Maybe, I don't know, I'll be honest, I haven't seen the special, but I'm on TikTok, so I've seen the news. So I don't know if it was a funny joke or not. Wasn't for his audience. And I think that's part of it, is knowing your audience, right?
Well, so that's, I think that it's not impossible to know your audience.
Right.
It's irresponsible to try to get to know your audience. And I'll give you the reason why. We're going to use Star Wars. George Lucas is not so much a fan pleaser as he was a George Lucas pleaser.
That's true. That's true. A lot of the times George Lucas wanted to do what he wanted to do. And like, especially with the re-release of the special edition, did the Dune-backs, I believe that's what they were called, that he's put in the background at Tatooine, CGI. Did they enhance the scene? No. Did he want them there originally? Yes, and that's why he did it when he had the technology later.
We were talking about this, the darlings of your edits and, things that you want to keep in. Well, that was kind of the phrasing I used, right? It has to enhance or, has to add to the scene or to what you're looking at or hearing even, right? Yeah. And if it doesn't, well, A, what's the fucking point? And B, is it okay? Like we dance around first off, if you're being honest with yourself and you create arts, every artist has this idea that, well, I'm an artist. This is my creation. Fuck off. If you want to input into it, fuck off. Right? And if you're being honest with yourself, everybody's done that. But if you're also being honest with yourself, you also make the argument that art is for the people, that the George Lucases of the world can fuck off because that's ours. It's now received by so many in the populace that it's now a community event. So fuck off, right? So not where is the line? Why can't we have both?
I think you're right there. I think the ability to have both, and honestly the ability to put both together, is what you're trying to do, right? I don't remember if we've referenced this on the podcast or not, but we've talked about this. John Mayer, and I think he said this on Hot Ones. You Hot Ones fans, let me know if I'm right. He talks about when he writes an album, he writes songs for him, he writes songs for his audience. You get both when you buy the new John Mayer album. Because he's like me, he really likes theory and he likes a lot of chords in his songs, whereas we know the general audience for music wants a 3 or 4 chord song. And that's fine.
They want the same 3 or 4 chords. Not just any 3 chords.
You're right. A lot of the times it's in one of 3 keys, same chords. But yeah, and he gives his audience both. And I think, it's about finding the balance.
Or is he saying that to make this conversation easier for the end?
I don't know.
And I'm not saying that to challenge John. I'm saying that to provoke the thought again, right?
Yeah.
Like, how do we know? Where is the line? Where is the evidence, right? And I'm not saying prove it again. I'm not challenging John Mayer. But what I am saying is in the end, everyone is bullshitting what they did to get there.
Yeah.
We are all bullshitting to what we say we did to get there is not true for many reasons. One of it's because we can't observe ourselves. That's just how nature is. It's always easier for someone on the outside to explain something to you about what you're doing, right? Like if your habit is to, oh man, I always sneeze 3 times after I take a shit. You're not going to notice that as much as somebody else does.
That's true.
So if you create a little bit of a masquerade, an artistic twist to the thought process that's going on in the interpretation of your craft, then you might be clever enough to simply plant the seed, that you are doing both. Or is it simply put that when you're so comfortable in your own skin as an artist, that when you are able to shed the negative responses, you're then free to truly make what makes you happy, and then you just naturally fall and sink into that.
There's that too, right? Because there's some artists out there whose dreams were to make music, movies, art, whatever it was. So they spent years building a portfolio that pleased everyone else, so that they could get to a point of money and recognition where they can say, now it's my time to give the world what I intended to give them from the beginning.
And isn't it so strange too that we celebrate a process, which in essence it's college, right? It's the stepping stones. We celebrate these processes that develop a cookie cutter type mentality, right?
Mm-hmm.
And how that's a real big thing in the United States. I don't know about everywhere else because I don't live there, but you
don't live in the United States?
Yeah. But it's so big of a mentality that it's just baffling that nobody understands that we are programmed.
Yeah.
Like, how do you not see that we're all used to some of these same things? You don't have to like exactly the same thing, but we are all used to the radio music situation. Mm-hmm. We're used to Spotify now and Apple Music and this industry.
Oh, yeah.
And we don't acknowledge that is a conditioning to the arts. And I think ultimately it kind of boils down to the brainchild of this podcast, right? We're here to try to promote art within West Texas. And in the end, you have to decentralize art. So yeah, art's been too commercialized. It's been too packaged and made into this 3 or 4 same 3 or 4 chord song.
Right.
Well, we'll get back to it, guys. Make sure that you check out all the links down below. Please share, comment, like, subscribe.
Check out our sketches and our upcoming unscripted comedies.
Love you.
Love you.